Have you ever experienced a betrayal that completely shattered your trust? Have you ever felt lost in the midst of pain, unsure if you could forgive? Many say that forgiveness is a sign of weakness, but what if I told you that it is, in fact, the most powerful manifestation of true love? It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? How could someone forgive the unforgivable? But believe me, by facing betrayal head on, you may discover a strength you didn't even know existed within you. And what if forgiveness was not just a way to relieve the pain, but the key to an even deeper love? In this video, we'll explore how to turn this pain into a path of healing and reconciliation. Are you ready to discover the transformative power of forgiveness?
Evelyn was at home, enveloped by an unsettling silence, when she decided to pick up William's cell phone, her husband. He always left the device in plain sight, as if there were no secrets to hide. With a mix of curiosity and a twinge of distrust, she unlocked the device and, upon opening the messages, her heart raced. A conversation between William and a woman named Laura caught her eye, their words laden with an intimacy that made Evelyn's stomach turn. "I can't wait to see you again. You know you're everything I want," read one of the messages. Evelyn's mind went into overdrive. What should she do? Confront him immediately? What else was hidden? The air seemed to have turned to poison, and a sense of hopelessness overcame her. With a trembling voice, Evelyn decided she couldn't let it go unnoticed. When William came home, she found him in the living room, seemingly carefree. His face lit up when he saw her, but the smile disappeared when he noticed the grave expression dominating his wife's face. "William," she began, trying to stay calm, "we need to talk." "About what?" he asked, unaware of the storm approaching. "About Lara," Evelyn said, forcing herself not to break down. "About the messages you exchanged with her." William's eyes widened, and an awkward silence hung between them. He hesitated before responding, as if searching for the right words. "Evelyn, that means nothing. She's just a colleague, I promise. You know how people exaggerate." Evelyn couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Exaggerate? Do you think this is an exaggeration? What you read isn't just work talk. It's betrayal, William." He took a deep breath, his expression alternating between defense and guilt. "Look, I made a mistake. I didn't want you to know, but it wasn't serious. We just got carried away." "Got carried away?" Evelyn repeated, each word landing like a punch to the gut. "Do you think that justifies what you did? I'm not a stranger, William. I'm your wife." The tone of her voice rose, but there was no turning back. Tears began to slip down her face, and she felt a sharp pain in her chest. "I gave you everything, and you betrayed me with someone who doesn't even know what we have." William, now visibly distressed, tried to approach her. "Evelyn, please, don't do this. I love you. You know that. It was a moment of weakness. I'm here, and I want to make things right." "Make things right?" She stepped away from him, as if touching a burning flame. "You can't just fix what's broken. I can't trust you again. And what else are you hiding?" After a moment of silence, William looked away. The gesture was like a blow, and Evelyn realized he had nothing more to say. Alone in the living room, with the unspoken words reverberating in her mind, Evelyn let herself fall onto the couch. A whirlwind of emotions enveloped her. She reflected on her marriage, on how she had gotten lost in routine and obligations, neglecting her own identity. "When was the last time I did something for myself?" she thought, as she stared into the void. The weight of betrayal and disappointment forced her to face not only the pain, but also the need to start anew. The idea of dedicating herself to herself was a distant concept, but now it seemed like the only way out. Evelyn took a deep breath, feeling determination sprout within her. The pain was immense, but she wouldn't let herself sink. It was time to find herself again, to rediscover the woman who had been lost between the roles of wife and homemaker. The journey would begin there, in that moment, and she was determined not to let herself be defeated. Evelyn felt lost, as if she were navigating a stormy sea without knowing which direction to take. After the emotional storm that hit her with the revelation of William's betrayal, the idea of rediscovering herself seemed both frightening and liberating. It was then that, in search of distraction and renewal, she decided to enroll in an art course at the local community center. Art had always been a dormant passion in her heart, and perhaps it was time to awaken it. On the day of the first class, Evelyn entered the room with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. The walls were adorned with vibrant paintings, each telling a story she could only imagine. The smell of fresh paint and paper enveloped her like a welcoming embrace. She sat in a corner, observing the other students who chatted animatedly. A group of smiling young people, a middle-aged man who seemed to absorb every detail of the environment, and an older woman with gray hair and a deep, wise look. "Hi, I'm Clara," said the woman next to Evelyn, extending her hand. "Are you new here?" Evelyn shook her hand, feeling a warm welcome. "Yes, I'm Evelyn. I'm just trying to find a new path." Clara smiled, understanding. "We all are in some way. Art has this power to connect us with our deepest emotions. What brought you here?" Evelyn hesitated for a moment, but something about Clara's sincerity encouraged her to speak. "I recently went through a tough time. My marriage ended unexpectedly. I needed a way to deal with it." Clara's eyes softened. "I'm sorry to hear that. I went through something similar. Betrayal is a deep pain, but believe me, art can be a path to healing. When I paint, I feel like I'm releasing everything inside me." Evelyn felt the connection with Clara was immediate. Both were there in search of something that transcended pain and betrayal. "Do you really think art can help?" "Absolutely," Clara replied with an encouraging smile. "Painting is not just about creating something beautiful. It's a form of expression. You'll see." Over the next few weeks, Evelyn immersed herself in the classes, rediscovering her passion for painting that she thought she had lost. She allowed herself to explore every color, every brushstroke, as if she were also drawing the outlines of her new life. The studio became a refuge, a place where her emotions could flow without judgment. In one of the classes, while working on a canvas depicting a vibrant landscape, Clara approached. "Evelyn, you're doing so well. The colors you chose are so intense. What do they mean to you?" Evelyn paused, reflecting. "I think I'm trying to capture the light that still exists within me, even after everything that happened. It's like I'm fighting to remember who I am." Clara nodded, as if she understood perfectly. Sometimes it's necessary to go through this darkness to find the light again. Don't be afraid to express your pain. Every brushstroke can be a step towards healing. These words echoed in Evelyn's mind. When she returned home, her heart was lighter, but her mind was still filled with memories that bound her to the past. Determined to take a more significant step in her journey, she began to clean the apartment, removing objects that reminded her of William. Each item thrown away was a symbol of liberation, an act of courage. However, when she opened an old box, her fingers touched a photo of William and her on a trip they had taken together. The image captured a moment of genuine happiness, where smiles were authentic and love seemed unwavering. Evelyn hesitated, her heart racing as she recalled that fraction of the past. "Why do you have to be like this?" she murmured to herself, her voice choked. "You can't hold on to this anymore." She held the photo, allowing herself a moment of nostalgia, but soon placed it back in the box, determined to move forward. "I deserve more than this," she whispered, like a mantra that would guide her on her journey of self-discovery and renewal. The night wore on, and Evelyn felt that, even in the face of pain, she was finally beginning to chart the path to her own happiness. Evelyn sat in her small painting studio, surrounded by tubes of paint and brushes of various sizes. The soft light of the late afternoon filtered through the windows, illuminating the white walls that were now beginning to come to life with her creations. She had dedicated herself to exploring her emotions through art, and each brushstroke seemed to carry a piece of her pain. On one canvas, a turbulent sea represented her internal confusion. On another, a dark sky with heavy clouds symbolized William's betrayal. Every day, she felt more liberated by expressing what was inside her. As she worked on a new piece, her mind wandered. The memories of William still haunted her, but now, instead of despair, there was a spark of hope. "Art is my voice," she thought. "It's through it that I can scream without being heard." When the door to the room opened, her mother entered, bringing with her the comforting smell of fresh coffee. "You're so focused, dear. I can see that painting has become an important part of your life," her mother said, approaching Evelyn with a warm smile. "It's true, Mom. I feel like I'm finally expressing what I feel." Each canvas has a story, an emotion. It's like I'm rediscovering myself, Evelyn replied, looking at her mother with a sparkle in her eyes. That's wonderful. Evelyn, remember that art is also about healing. Don't forget that you deserve to free yourself from the weight you carry, her mother said, sitting in a nearby chair. Have you thought about forgiving William? The question took Evelyn by surprise. She hesitated, running her fingers through the paints arranged on the table. Forgive? I don't know, Mom. He hurt me deeply. What he did was unfair. Forgiveness is not for him, dear. It's for you. It's a gift you give yourself. Letting go of resentment can be liberating. You don't need to carry this pain anymore, encouraged her mother, with a sincere look. Evelyn looked at the blank canvas in front of her, a void that reflected her emotional state. Maybe you're right. I'm so focused on the pain that I don't realize it's only imprisoning me. I want to be free, she confessed, her voice trembling as she spoke the last word. Free yourself, my daughter. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget what happened. It means you're ready to move on, to love again, to find happiness, said her mother, with a tenderness that made Evelyn feel supported. Her mother's words echoed in her mind as she sat in front of the canvas. With renewed focus, Evelyn began to mix colors, creating a vibrant background that seemed to pulse with life. She remembered the conversations she had with her art colleagues, all sharing their stories of pain and overcoming. Each of them had found a way to deal with their experiences, and now it was her turn. If I can turn this pain into something beautiful, maybe I can find peace, she murmured to herself as the brush danced across the canvas. William can't have control over me anymore. I'm stronger than that. By the end of the afternoon, Evelyn admired her work. The vibrant colors reflected not only her pain, but also her determination to move forward. She felt a wave of relief and hope, as if she were finally freeing herself from the chains that bound her to the past. That night, as she prepared to sleep, Evelyn took her journal and began to write. Today, I decided I want to forgive myself. I want to leave the past behind and live the life I deserve. I don't know how this will happen, but I'm ready to try. The words flowed like ink on paper, each sentence a declaration of freedom. With a smile on her face and a lighter heart, Evelyn finally lay down, dreaming of a future where pain turned into art and where forgiveness was the key to true liberation. On the sunny morning following her last art class, Evelyn woke up with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The day of the local fair had finally arrived. While she prepared a coffee, her gaze lingered on the blank canvas she had set up in her studio. She had yet to decide which works to bring, but the idea of displaying her work at a fair for the first time left her anxious. Art was not just a refuge. It had become her way of expressing herself, reflecting on pain and overcoming. Come on, Evelyn, you can do this, she murmured to herself as she stroked the surface of one of her most recent paintings, an explosion of colors that represented her inner struggle. The phone rang, interrupting her thoughts. It was Clara, her friend from the course. Hi, Evelyn. I'm so excited for today. Are you ready? Clara's voice brimmed with enthusiasm, and it was contagious to Evelyn. I'm almost ready. I just need to decide which works to bring, Evelyn replied, trying to hide her nervousness. Choose the ones that speak to you the most, the ones with meaning, you know? The visitors will feel your passion, advised Clara with an encouraging tone. Evelyn smiled at the phone. Thank you, Clara. That helps a lot. After hanging up, she looked at her paintings and decided which to bring. Each of them told a part of her story, a journey of pain and healing. With the works carefully packed, Evelyn headed to the fair, where local artists would showcase their creations. The air was filled with the aromas of street food and the laughter of families strolling through the stalls. Upon arriving, she found a vibrant space full of colors and sounds. People wandered among the exhibits, admiring the artworks and chatting animatedly. Evelyn installed her paintings with care, arranging them to stand out. She was nervous, but at the same time, she felt a wave of confidence wash over her. As she prepared, a man approached. He was well-dressed, with a keen look in his eyes. Hello, I'm Lucas, a gallery owner. Your works caught my attention, he said, analyzing one of her paintings. May I ask what inspired this piece? Evelyn's heart raced. This painting represents my journey after a betrayal. It's a mix of pain and self-discovery. Each color reflects a feeling I experienced. Lucas smiled, interested. "It's impressive. You have an incredible talent. I'm thinking of organizing an exhibition for new artists, and I'd love to include your work." The proposal left Evelyn in shock. "Really? That would be an incredible opportunity, but I don't know if I'm ready." "You don't need to worry about that now. Just think about the possibility. The art world needs authentic voices like yours," he said, before moving away, leaving Evelyn in a whirlwind of emotions. As the fair continued, Evelyn spotted William in the distance. He seemed at ease, as if nothing had happened between them. His gaze met hers, and for a moment, time seemed to stop. He approached, a forced smile on his face. "Evelyn, you look wonderful," he commented, trying to appear casual. "Thank you, William," she replied, maintaining her composure. "I'm busy now, so if you'll excuse me." "Wait, I just wanted to talk about us. I'm sorry for what happened. I want to try again," he pleaded, the sincerity in his voice sounding hollow to her. "You don't understand, do you? I'm not the woman you knew anymore. I'm different now. I've learned to value myself," Evelyn replied, her tone firm. William frowned. "But I can change. I can be the husband you deserve." Evelyn shook her head, determination growing inside her. "It's not just about you, William. It's about me. I can't build my happiness on empty promises. I need to move on." He remained silent, and her gaze shifted to her works, now surrounded by people admiring her work. The energy around her was palpable, and it helped her reaffirm her purpose. Later, in a moment of introspection, Evelyn decided to write a letter to William. The words flowed from her pen like a deep outpouring, expressing all the pain, confusion, and finally, the desire for freedom. But as she finished, she hesitated. The letter symbolized a bond she wanted to cut, not a bridge to be rebuilt. Why deliver this? He already had his chance, she murmured to herself, tucking the letter into a notebook. Evelyn realized she was finally ready to close that chapter of her life and open a new one, where her art and happiness were the main focus. Evelyn was in a mix of excitement and nervousness as she prepared for the big art exhibition in New York. The walls of her studio were framed by her works, each reflecting a part of her painful and liberating journey. She looked at herself in the mirror, admiring the woman she had become, strong, independent, and above all, determined not to let the shadows of the past consume her. "You're going to rock, Evelyn. Remember what you've achieved," said Clara, her course colleague, and one of the few people who knew the depth of her pain. Clara was a vibrant, lively artist, and her unwavering support had been crucial throughout Evelyn's journey. "I hope so. But what if people don't like what I did? What if I fail?" Evelyn couldn't shake the doubts that still lingered in her mind. "You're not here to please everyone, but to express yourself. Your works are your truth. If someone doesn't understand it, it's their problem," Clara replied firmly, holding Evelyn's hands. "Trust yourself. You are wonderful." Evelyn took a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The exhibition was an opportunity to showcase not only her artistic skills, but also to assert her new identity. She was about to take a step that could change everything. However, as she prepared for the event, a message from her classmate interrupted her. With a nervous touch, Evelyn opened the notification and began to read. "Hi, Evelyn. Just wanted to let you know I saw William and his mistress at the cafe yesterday. They were so close, they're still together." The words seemed to echo in her mind, and a wave of emotions hit her. A mix of anger and relief. Anger at the fact that William hadn't changed, still being in a relationship that didn't value her, but relief in knowing that, finally, she could close that chapter of her life. "He doesn't deserve my time or my tears," she murmured to herself as her heart beat faster. Evelyn felt a growing determination. What more could she do? He had already shown who he was and what he wanted. Now it was time for her to free herself for good. That night, as she headed to the gallery, the nervousness had turned into a contagious excitement. The space was full of people, all admiring the works that reflected her deepest emotions. Evelyn interacted with the guests, explaining her inspirations and the meaning of her paintings, each word a step towards her new life. "You really managed to convey pain and overcoming in your works," said an art critic who introduced himself as Lucas. "It's rare to see such an authentic artist. You are a true talent." "Thank you, Lucas. That means a lot to me," Evelyn replied, feeling increasingly confident. I just hope people see beyond the pain and understand the message of hope I want to convey." As she spoke, her eyes fixed on a familiar figure entering the gallery, William. By his side, the mistress, with a smile that Evelyn knew well, but now seemed so distant. Evelyn's heart raced, but instead of feeling small, a new strength enveloped her. She turned to Clara, who watched her with a concerned expression. "Are you okay?" her friend asked. "I am. I just need a moment. I can't let this affect me. Not anymore." Evelyn took a deep breath, feeling determination pulse through her veins. "I'm going there. I'm going to face this once and for all," she declared, her voice firm. Clara nodded, proud, as Evelyn headed toward them. Each step was a reminder of her newfound strength. What William had done didn't define her. She had reinvented herself and was ready to show the world who she really was. Her heart beat strongly, but now it was a beat of power, not fear. She knew that, regardless of what happened, she was finally ready to leave the past behind and embrace a future full of possibilities. The atmosphere of the big art exhibition in New York was charged with palpable electricity. The bright lights reflected on Evelyn's works, which were carefully arranged on the gallery walls. The vibrant colors of her paintings told stories of pain, overcoming, and renewal. The whisper of the crowd, filled with art critics, friends, and admirers, filled the air with an expectation that made her heart beat in sync with the rhythm of the moment. However, amid all this celebration, Evelyn felt a presence that made her freeze. It was William. He was there, next to his mistress, as if there was nothing wrong. The sparkle in his eyes, the confidence, the way he leaned on the woman beside him, all of it made a whirlwind of emotions flood her. She took a deep breath, trying to keep her composure. "You're not going to ruin this night," she thought. It was her time to shine. When the crowd began to disperse to make room for a speech, Evelyn decided it was the right moment. With firm steps, she made her way to a small makeshift stage, where a microphone awaited. Before speaking, she looked at William and his mistress. They were laughing, as if they were in a world of their own. The urge to expose them burned inside her, a flame that could no longer be contained. "Good evening, everyone," Evelyn began, her voice echoing with a confidence she didn't feel inside. "Today I'm not here just to show my works, but to share a part of my story." Heads turned in her direction, attention captured. William, realizing the gravity of what was happening, stopped smiling and began to fidget. "In recent months, I've gone through a process of self-discovery, and it is with great courage that I decide to reveal something that many tried to hide." She looked directly at William, her gaze firm and determined. "I discovered that the love I had for a man, whom I thought was my partner for life, was just an illusion that was shattered by betrayal." The murmur in the gallery grew, and Evelyn continued, feeling stronger with each word. "William, you may have hidden behind lies, but the truth always finds a way to appear. What you did was not just a betrayal of our marriage, but a betrayal of your own word. And here we are, on a night that should be about celebration, and you decided to bring your mistress as if nothing happened." William's mistress, a dark-haired woman with a defiant look, crossed her arms, but Evelyn didn't let herself be intimidated. "I'm not here to attack, but to show that there is no more room for lies in my life. Today, I free myself from you, William. I refuse to be a shadow of what I once was." Evelyn felt the energy in the room change. People began to applaud, some even shouting words of support. "That's right, Evelyn," shouted a familiar voice. It was her friend Clara, who had always been by her side. That encouraged her even more. "I'm here to celebrate not just my work, but my life. And from today on, I choose freedom, I choose the truth, and I choose art as my new path." A smile lit up her face as she turned to the crowd, who applauded her, standing, as if she had just won a battle. William, visibly shaken, began to walk away, pulling his mistress by the hand. "You didn't have to do this, Evelyn," he murmured, but his voice no longer held the power it once had over her. "Maybe not, but I needed it for me," Evelyn replied, with a calmness that surprised even herself. As they left, a wave of relief enveloped her. She felt light, as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. "You were amazing," said Clara, running toward her. "I couldn't be prouder." A man in a well-cut suit, who introduced himself as a gallery owner, approached. "Your works are magnificent, and your courage is even more impressive. I'd like to talk about a possible partnership. I see a great future for you in art." Evelyn looked around, feeling the vibrant energy of the room and the connection with her works. Finally, she was ready for this new beginning. Betrayal had become a distant memory, and the reborn artist was about to shine brighter than ever. Reflecting on this story, ask yourself, what has betrayal taught you about yourself and about love? Are you willing to open your heart and let forgiveness in? Often, it is in the most challenging situations that we find the greatest life lessons. Think about the times you were betrayed and how you dealt with it. Forgiveness may not be easy, but it is a vital step toward healing and moving forward. If you want to deepen this journey and learn more about turning pain into love, don't forget to click on the video appearing on your screen now. In my opinion, this is one of the best stories I've ever told, the most exciting. And if you liked what you heard now, you'll definitely love this other story too. So subscribe to the channel, click on the video on your screen now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.